expectations. On the other side of Mammoth, though, they need to make a step up from what they did in stage 1.
That's right, which was last place.
Yeah, it was last place. Was it last place and winless? No, it wasn't. It was last place with and win, I think.
And single win.
And single win.
The one consolation win.
I believe it
I'll
was.
try and validate that for a
So
sec.
if they can match that here and do better, it would be nice. Not just that, but I think I've got, like, you know, like the guys are saying on the desk as well, I have got faith in these Mammoth guys. Like, the way that they're playing at the moment and the lineup is, in theory, it's an upgrade from what they've got in the last stage. It's, in theory, better. They should have matured as a team, but it's not quite reflecting the results just yet, albeit it's only been 2 play days, so they've got a chance at redemption here.
That's right. So if Mammoth win this game in regulation, they will have the same number of points that they ended last season with. And obviously with still many, many, many more games to go. So that would be a great position for Mammoth to sit in. And as for Bandits, as you were saying, they expect themselves to sit in the middle pack. But, so there's some banter going on in the chat, which I'll dive into in a second because there's some lore behind this, guys. But my point for Bandits is they told me that the one win that they were, like, pretty confident to get was over Desire, and that's who they lost to on this map last play day. In that last play day,
I can't stop giggling about it now.
You remember what happened, right? There was a basement attack from, I can't remember who they were playing.
It's Desire.
Desire, yeah, of course, I just said that. So Desire were going for, like, a Glaz execute.
Yeah.
And these guys had a Warden, and he did not peek to deny the Glaz. And he got roasted on social media, the poor guy. And then here we go. Mammoth ban Glaz, and Bandits are like, hey, it's fine, we know how to play Warden.
God, it's awful. It is actually awful. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh God, it's happening all over again.
No.
Look, they're saving themselves the pain. They're saving themselves the deja vu.
Well, guess who's on that Warden right now? It's the new guy, Jacko.
No.
We haven't seen him play yet. That's kind of exciting. Mallow out, Jacko in. Is this the upgrade that Bandits needed?
I have no idea.
Me
That's
neither.
a good question, and I have absolutely no idea what the answer is. So they'll tell us in their gameplay, hopefully. Here we go. So the first bomb site is going to be bar and games for Bandits. They take us over to what is a pretty classic top mezzanine, top library setup. Nothing too special for these guys. Meanwhile, for Mammoth, they have brought along a fuse, which makes me curious as to whether they're going to use it on top library. Maybe they're going to try and use it to clear the corner player, the dark corner. Are they going to use it somewhere else? Are they going to wait to vertical control? I don't know, but I think it could be good fun.
Also, just having the AK in Killerman's hands is always nice. Killerman's been kind of a gunner so far for Mammoth. Great pickup. As we see, there is a nice little top blue stairs set up here on this bar games defense, as you would typically see. That's MML playing that position. Fun bit of lore. MML, JPK, former teammates now against each other. They were teammates on that old Challenger League UG roster, which made a real name for themselves. Ooh, almost dies.
Ooh, that's a pretty good nade from Frixel, though. On the other side of that gunfight is a Razor on the top of Mezzanine, but gets away with his life, albeit at half HP. Meanwhile, it does seem like Mammoth haven't really got their in on the building just yet, still deciding whether they want a direct hit into library or go for a sweep. Chef Jeff has finally made his way inside of office, though, and so he's in a bit of a pinch between these two halves of the defense.
Oh, wow, what a shot from a Razor. JPK surely should have been advantaged in that gunfight, trying to peek over the top of the shield, but he would never have seen the Jaeger's head as he swung. Lightning fast kill, but here is the attempt at replying in a lightning fast manner from Mammoth as Hunter drones ahead, and Chef has already pushed up to office, now looking to pressure and take this display control.
On the other side of that drone is the very low MML, who was, of course, taken down by a grenade. So if they can finish off that kill, that will be half of your top floor control done. Razor still, he holds strong here in the top of Mezzanine as well. It's just thinking time here for Mammoth, consolidating your utility over on that top floor and then getting to work with it.
Yeah, the big player to get rid of is, of course, Eraser, who is still fairly low on HP. Oh, MML is about to lose his head, surely. Unfortunate timing for Frixel there, doesn't quite land the shot. Eraser pieces on out, back downstairs. But MML is caught somehow as he tries to retreat. That's Hunter in useless, or mud as some people call it. And now here comes Hell on Earth on site with the fuse charges. Killerman taking down what was left of Eraser. Not a lot of time, but Mammoth have a good position.
They do have to be careful, though. With only 30 seconds left to go, they do have to worry about that flank, and that is Drift all the way in jungle, who could cause a real thorn in their side. Nice retake, though, comes from Lonely. That's 2 on the side, and really shutting down this attack from Mammoth.
This is desperate now. They're going to have to land the long line. And, of course, Killerman is able to do so. Drift caught out on his flank. But, of course, Jacko left in the 1v1. He's going to have to clutch up against Chef, who is forced to plant here. Jacko will have 4 seconds after the timer hits 0 to land this shot onto Chef. And Chef is not even going to give him the satisfaction. That is a forfeit of the round for Mammoth. And a great opener there from Bandits.
Yeah, I think Mammoth's just taking a little bit too long to decide what they actually wanted to go for. It did seem like they eventually wanted to actually get that top floor control, right? They've got the fuse and they have the buck as well, so they wanted to be able to make full use of that vertical. But ultimately, the time that it took, the banner in the chat from this game is something we have to keep an eye on.
Save that 0.7 KD, Chef. Man.
Oh god, got Chef haters in the chat. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I think for Mammoth, like, good try, you know, right idea, but taking it too slow. I think giving Bandits enough space to close out that one nice in the late game.
Chef replied with congrats on some kills, big fella. Lonely says TY. It was really Lonely that kind of brought that round back for Bandits, right? But you got to say to Mammoth, right, you got to expect people to be in that stock room, right? It's such a common spot. You are kind of trolling if you don't clear that position, and they were very much punished for it. Nonetheless, first round for Bandits, and now they will go downstairs to the basement. Funny to see which sites different teams choose on this map, Mandy, because there's been such a change in meta. Like, Chalet can be quite attacker-sided, and so the defense is always looking for what is the current best site, because it changes on a whim depending on the meta, depending on the ops on the board, and we haven't even seen Master or Dining, both of which have been primaries for many teams in the past.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Chalet is one of those maps where all 4 sites are arguably viable. For some reason, that was a massive tongue twister for me. I don't know what's going on with me today.
It's like Rob trying to say airwheeler wise.
I don't know why, but I just cannot form a sentence today. And I was like, commentator, it's the curse. It's the curse of anything you could ask for. Okay,
Lonely,
here we go. Bandit
that.
trick. That's good, surely. Oh, yeah, that's really great timed from Lonely there. And so they're actually going to move away from it. If there's anything that I would have expected Mammoth to hold on to for a bit longer, it was going to be to play this game against the Trick, of course. They do have Frixel on the other side of it with grenades as well, so they could have had the opportunity to secure the kill as well as preventing the Bandit Trick. But nevertheless, they're going to move away from it and come back to it later instead.
Yeah, a bit of a shame for Mammoth. There were 100 different things they could have done there. You know, double hard breach with the ace. It's pretty hard to juggle both. Nade, like you said, flashes, a million different options.
Oh, fuse. You can put fuse on reinforced walls.
You could have put a fuse on there. I mean, it can also get Bandit tricked, but that's a very good point. It may well have worked.
I forgot that you could do that. That was more my remark. Anyway, as we were going through what you can do.
Speaking of the fuse.
That's cool. Oh, so is this going to be like a 2-layered thing? He's going to put down another one and it'll sink in or something.
It's also just a really nice way of getting lots of vert without being vulnerable to C4s. You put it on the mezzanine, it opens up all of the ceiling above the wine portion of the bomb site and makes things very awkward. But yet now they're worried as they try and move into lobby to utilize that vert about the pressure from Dining here.
Yeah, they've really got to start getting control over on this ground floor of the map, right? There is only one player inside of Dining who I believe does have a hatch fall off and has in fact fallen off from that position. So whether Mammoth know it or not, they do actually have control of most of the map. Hang on a moment though, Bandits, 2 players on the retake.
That's very cheeky from MML and Jacko, going for a very big flank. There seems to be some wariness, but apparently not from JPK. There is, however, from Killerman. He might have thought that it was only a single player, and complacency will punish him. Now Bandits with the upper hand, but not if Mammoth can collapse on the side. Last 2 players are both outside the breach. Frixel goes down. Drift has done a phenomenal job here playing breach with this TCSG, and well, Lonely's going to claim the final kill. That's back-to-back defenses now as well for Bandits.
Yeah, great job on the retake there from Bandits to actually go for that decision through the mid-round to go for that full retake. They had anticipated that Mammoth, as they made their way through the building, were not diligent enough to put flying drones down on the opposing side of the building. Remember, for Mammoth, they'd only entered in from the library side of the building. They hadn't done a sweep across the map, so they knew that Solar was still completely clear. They probably still had West Main cams. There was all the info that they could have needed to actually plan that retake and go for it. So good job from Bandits, well-informed, and having 2 players there for the trade was an excellently executed retake.
Look at that, you can words. Excellently executed.
The alliterations are very hard.
That's some amazing alliteration from you,
thank
Amanda.
You. That was banned on the broadcast. You can't call me that on the broadcast.
It was alliteration. Do I get a get out of free card because it was A? Now I can't talk, apparently.
You've been cursed. So now that you've said it, you've been cursed.
Well,
yeah, okay, you can get away with that. You can get away with that.
Well, will Mammoth get away with a couple of attacks in this half is my question, because that first one was a bit close, that second one not so much.
It's a good question. I think for Mammoth, they look a little indecisive, like through the round. I feel like if they actually committed to a plan early on and actually went for it, I have a feeling they would find a little bit more success here against Bandit. It's not like Bandit's like disrespecting them and like peeking their head out windows or anything like that. I do feel like Mammoth have not given themselves enough credit here in these attacks, is what I'm trying to say. They could be quicker. And
it has been a conversation commonly on the casting desk as well. Are we not giving Mammoth enough credit? Are we looking through rose-tinted glasses because of their struggles in Stage 1? This is a team that has taken some pretty damn good opponents into overtime already, thus this season. Now, while they don't have a win yet, almost beating Barbie Boys is a kind of win in its own right. And now this is their best opportunity to get a win, and it is, of course, against Bandits.
All right, here we go. Solo-sided attack for Mammoth. It does seem like everyone is on board with this plan. We've got Frixel over on the rappel, the hard breach to open up this angle to closet. Not just that, but even the cutoff all the way on the other side of the map. Really nice grenade from Chef Jeff, though. I think that's actually 2 floors. Yeah, there we go. That's the angle that's come through bottom of garage all the way up into closet to actually take that player down. Not just that, but Frixel had him cut off on the window as well. So that's immediately started to open up the top floor here for Mammoth.
Yeah, beautifully played stuff. And also the Fenrir now is unable to change where he is going to have his active FNATs and where the ones will be inactive. So that's quite a significant impact into the late round as Mammoth look to pivot into the second phase of this attack, which is converting some map control. They've got 2 kills. Now let's get some map control out of it and start to push onto these defenders. There's a player looking to get very aggressive. Jacko on his debut had a good game so far, and he runs out, looks to survive deeper into this round.
Looking like a better round for Mammoth already. Next step is going to be that vertical pressure through the mid-round, which is going to be the job of Chef Jeff, of course, on the sledge, who is, of course, the one to kick off that round with a really nice grenade. He's got to rotate himself all the way down from the basement into that top floor and then start to put the pressure on these anchors.
Oh, he almost dies to a C4, though. Lucky that Sledge has gotten a little bit more HP now being a 1 speed, because he is going to survive that C4 and continue to make some vertical game. But Mammoth is still very much in the driver's seat as we hear a lot of those Vulcan canisters taken out. Meanwhile, JPK is taken out lonely. Drift looking for the refrag, but is caught out from above, forcing Jacko into the 1v5. It certainly ain't going to happen. He's not even going to find a single kill. Mammoth, a flawless round to finally get into this game.
It feels like Mammoth accidentally heard me on the comms there when I was going through what I felt like they hadn't given themselves enough credit for, and that was actually sticking to a plan. It really felt like all 5 players there of Mammoth dedicated themselves to that solo-sided take, and then they just went through the checklist one by one by one. And because they got on that plan so early and they made that util game happen within like the first 30 seconds of the round, it really opened it up for them during that mid-round, which is something that we haven't seen from the attacks so far.
Will this give a bit of confidence to them now? You said that they need to have more confidence in themselves. Now they've earned it. And let's see, going back to a bomb site that they very nearly won, it came down to a 1 versus 1. They also had the man advantage when they were attacking Bar last time. Will they be able to do what they just barely failed to do last time?
Yeah, I really like this idea from Mammoth as well. We see them re-pick onto the Flores and onto the Capitale, which is going to indicate to me they are going to look for something more direct onto the bomb site. They're not going to look for that sweep across from the solar side of the map. They're probably going to send in the Maverick down below. Meanwhile, simultaneously, things are happening with the utility above inside a library, right? So immediately Mammoth giving me signs that, okay, they're actually committing themselves to a plan, and let's hope they do it with conviction.
And something I like about this operator lineup is it gives you a lot of versatility as well. Makes it hard to guess what your push is, because the Flores, for example, you can clear the shield at top of library stairs. You can clear the shield here on mezzanine. And that makes it look like you're going for a map sweep, but you're not necessarily going to do so. You can use the Capitale to clear library, or you can use it to clear top blue. You could use it to clear stock. The options are seemingly limitless. On top of all that, Chef Jeff's actually on his Brava drone now, on his clutch, and he's going to look for that default camera in 5 players, which is super powerful for the attacking side if they're able to get it. He's already got 2 gadgets, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's not bad from him, is it? Meanwhile, down in the basement, this is the initial push that we were talking about just a little bit earlier for the attack. They have opened up an entry hole down into the basement, which they can then go up and start to put pressure directly into that bomb site, right? So Frixel is going to be that first point of contest, spearheading the push for Mammoth.
I really like this. Absolutely, you have the right read when it comes to the Maverick pick. It's going to be the back of stock there. Bit worried about the vert above, so Razor can always peek that and take down the Mavericks. So that's an extra thing that Mammoth will need to be careful of. Frixel is ready, keen on the angle, and as he can see, stock is completely clear. However, players can always rotate back into it in the late round. Here comes those Rotero drones as well from the Flores, taking out that util.
Yeah, it's excellent work so far for Mammoth. They're taking it slow and steady, but they're fixated on one idea, and that's just to clear that library position, which is actually now free for them. Whether they know it or not, they've got to send in the drones just to double check and to confirm, but now they know that Bandits have got to have fallen off onto the parts that are adjacent to the bomb site, right? They have to be playing inside the hallways, perhaps in bar, which is exactly what Hunter has the read on right now, is going to spray through that wall, and it's time to plan out that execute.
Yeah, Mammoth don't know it, but they could literally jump into sight right now. There's nobody watching that angle, but Drift, he watches the Maverick holes. He goes prone and he takes down Frixel. 2 players on site. This has gotten quite awkward now for Mammoth.
Yeah, so far Mammoth not really capitalizing on the space that they've created for themselves. Even though library is clear, they can't jump in because they're still afraid of the player inside of Mezzanine. Meanwhile, Killerman is trying to eventually get that control. The pressure is still mounting on the bomb site. Hunter can't quite land that angle, but finally, Killerman can kill a Razor. That was the player in Mezzanine, and top floor control is gifted to them, but not before Jacko can take it back.
Well played here by Bandits to play off each other and get Jacko to go for that flank. But Hunter, he's snuck behind enemy lines, and Chef has also doubled down. Jacko in a 1v3 in his debut in Tier 1 of Rainbow Six Siege. He's got the operator for it, the 1.5 on the Warden, but he's going to have to land 3 gnarly shots. Unfortunately, not quite the shot that JPK was looking for, but this crossfire is not an easy task to deal with. Hunter will get that final kill through a Maverick hole, no less. You're not winning that one. Great job there for Mammoth. That's 2 rounds on the trot.
Really nice stuff there, finally, from Mammoth. Actually, consolidating their push, I think, was the medicine that they needed so far on their attacking half. The first 2 rounds were really dictated by Bandits in the way that they just so confidently held onto the map. It was very much uncontested, but now Mammoth are starting to put the pedal to the metal. It did look a little bit scary there in that mid-round when they were still stalled out outside the building, even though they had so much space. In my mind, I was thinking, come on, they can do it. They just don't know it yet. And then when they finally made that move, they did it, they executed, and it was in really clean fashion.
It goes to show how much you find one pick because a defender happens to walk across the line of sight, overpeak a little bit too much. These kinds of picks can open rounds for Mammoth and for any teams in this meta. It's all about identifying opportunities and taking them. That's the name of the game in Rainbow Six at the moment.
We're going to go back down to the basement bomb site. Now, last time that Mammoth tried to attack this one, they tried to go for the vertical clear. The problem with trying to play vertical is that you actually need the whole map control, right? Because if you want to play in lobby, you also need to clear the top floor. And then you also need to clear dining because you can get shot through the holes from there, which essentially means you need to clear the entire map. Unfortunately, Mammoth weren't quite as successful at that. They took way too long to get that control, and as a result, Bandit could just go for a super easy retake. 2 of them went for those kills. This time, though, once again from Mammoth, it doesn't look like they're going to go for that full map control. It does look like they're going to push their attack over onto this backside of the bomb site. You've got the hard breach. Actually, I think it's double hard breach of the Maverick and the Ace, so they can get open whatever they want on the bomb site, and it's going to be more about playing that cutoff, denying the flanks, and making sure they're ready for that.
I'm guessing that that pick was through a Maverick hole, so well played there already by Frixel and Hunter to support him. Lonely's gone down, unfortunate. That's some of the Bandit juggling ability as well gone, already somewhat nullified by the Maverick pick, but it looks like Mammoth are actually going to go for a bit of a map clear here. I don't think they're going to go for the whole map, Mandy, but I don't know, at least to me, it looks like they're waiting for these roamers to come back to them.
Well, I think the main thing is when you do a backsided take, you have to anticipate that they're going to go for a retake. Killerman, okay, thank goodness. He's able to get that second one trying to fall back into the bomb site. So pretty severe man advantage now in the hands of Mammoth. I can imagine Bandits here are starting to think about getting aggressive. Here we go. These are 2 players realizing that they need to make a play to claw back the man advantage.
Well, Jacko and MML went for the double flank last time on this bomb site, and it was instrumental in Bandits winning the round. I think, though, that Mammoth might be clued in. And if they know that site is quite vacant, then Drift will be in a world of pain. Killerman is very cautious, watching for these flanks. It's all about timing here.
This is good for Mammoth. They are anticipating the re-aggression that's coming out from Bandit at the moment. MML is playing the patience game, realizing that Mammoth probably know that he is trying to do that, right? I imagine there's some flank drones out there this time through the map. Meanwhile, the rest of Mammoth are going to start to put the pressure on the one remaining defender inside of the bomb site. That's poor Drift, all on his lonesome.
Yeah, Killerman's just tasked with watching this flank, and he sees MML, but doesn't quite win that fight. An unfortunate turn of events for Mammoth now as they look to try and push the site, but also clear these roamers. Chef finally takes down MML. Drift has to hold the line here.
Yeah, JPK is going to start to ask for help as well on that long line of sight, saying, guys, there's a player behind the pillar. Can we get bird on him, please? And there it is from Chef Jeff through the floor. The breach charge goes through the final player inside of blue. That's a Razor, but he's taken down by JPK himself.
Yeah, and a great final conversion there for Mammoth. You said it, Mandy. That was a very tense mid-round where both of the teams had a clue of what the other was going for. Bandits knew in a 3v5 they have to go for some kind of flank, but Mammoth were very much in the read, and so they were patiently watching it. Bandits knew that, so they didn't go too fast. And, well, Mammoth, credit to them, have taken the lead once again. That's actually 3 in a row now.
Yeah. They really started to find their mojo here inside of this game, I think. As soon as they realized that they needed to take more conviction in their pushes and actually just go for it, and instead of trying to find the weaknesses in Bandits, actually play to their strengths, I would say is what they're going for now. I think they've found their momentum going into it. So in this last attack round, I can only imagine it's going to be on the onus here of Bandits to start actually putting that pressure over on Mammoth, because now that Mammoth have a plan, they've done it pretty much uncontested since they started, since they started having a plan in the first place, right? So now Bandits are going, okay, we can't just let them have this space for free. Surely they're going to contest it a little earlier this time.
It was just 2 warm-up rounds, Mandy. That was it for Mammoth. Now they're in control. They're looking very comfy. And they're ready to keep refining these ideas. Look at that last second operator switches. We saw the Capital go, the Ash come in. We saw the Ace come in as well. Now, this is actually a bar defense again, Mandy, which was successful the first time, unsuccessful the second for Bandits. But we're not seeing the same operators with the Capital, with the Maverick. We're seeing quite a change-up.
I wonder what they're going to go for here. With the operator lineup that they have, they still can go for that more direct take going into the bomb site, right? They don't have the Maverick to enable the silly little storage angle or anything anymore, but they're still hard breach, right? You can still get your Ace Selma on the bottom of that wall. They're essentially bringing the same amount of tools as before. The thing I want to point out here for Bandit is that they look like they're more active here on the defense. We can see MML actually starting down in the basement, anticipating a push to come through there. Not just that, but we've got Jacko peeking out early onto Mudroom, and no, he's not actually doing it anymore, but he was early onto Mudroom, early onto the site window. So, JPK's forced him back now, but it does seem like Bandit are spreading themselves thinner to actually try and deny that early game this time.
And it does seem like Mammoth are conversely playing a lot more aggressively here. JPK looking to team up with the player who was in blue before. It looks like, look at that, Mammoth have actually already taken full blue control. MML has been forced back once again. These are some good positions here from Mammoth. They're poking and prodding and looking for opportunities. Yeah,
they certainly are. They're looking for a mistake to be made from the positioning of Bandits. Hopefully get someone in that cutoff, get someone going past the window or the doorway of JPK. Not just that, but that top floor pressure is starting to amount as well. Chef Jeff is down here on the ground floor. He knows exactly where Drift is. He's stuck between 2 players himself.
Oh, here we go. That's the mistake that Mammoth were looking for. Jacko running through Library was a victim to Killerman, and JPK and Frixel team up together to find one player. Killerman's gone big with a double. The trade comes through. Drift has to have an impact here. 1 kill, another player spotted, and Hunt is downed. What chaos this has been. It's all up to JPK in the 1v2. Make it a 1v1. No! Oh, finally! Drift goes down. Took a bit of time to get the job done, but now lonely. He must clutch. JPK has got the info, got the flashes to work with. 1 goes in. Runs past the line of sight. He is spotted. There's yellow pings his info. He sees his tail for a brief moment. Oh, it's a ring around the rosy that Lonely will win out. 3 rounds apiece at the end of the half. And Bandits have stemmed the bleeding a little bit on the back of that clutch.
Yeah, the turning point of that round there was really Drift inside a jungle that was able to get 2 of his own and then go all the way back to the bomb side as well. Unfortunately for Mammoth, like we pointed out, they did actually find that opening into the building that we were looking for. They had that library control in the end with someone running straight past Killerman, but unfortunately they couldn't convert it. Bandits played the proactive game to actually take those gunfights as they were oncoming towards them, and as a result, even though it came down to a 1v1, I do feel like they had the upper hand there in choosing the interactions that they decided to go for.
Yeah, it's funny. It was just a moment of chaos where Lonely got 3 kills and then got a 4th at the end of the round. So huge 4K from the Frost there. Lonely has been a bit of a quiet player these past few weeks for Bandits. And I noticed in the chat earlier that was something that I think one of the Mammoth players had to go at him for when they were kind of going back and forth.
Oh, that's mean.
I know. And now he's gone and 4K'd them and clutched them.
Yeah.
So who's having the last laugh?
Haha, karma comes back to bite you. Can't be mean to your enemies, that's not good. Well, I mean, you kind of have to be, but like secretly, you know? You don't be mean to your enemies in the chat, that's actually mean. You only have to be mean to them in your chat.
I actually don't know how much banter there is between these two teams and how much is just good old friendly banter and how much is a bit more serious. Of course, I think when it comes to serious banter, we'll have to wait for our final game of the day.
Ooh, alright, that was a bit of teaser for that one. Okay, so Frixel, feeling confident, is going to look for a spawn peak on round 1 of his defense. So, yeah, look, feeling good about that one so far, but no one has been taken down on the side of Bandit.
Frixel got the dog in him with that spawn peak. On the Warden, man. It's the 1.5 meta. Have a look at the lineup on the defense. He's got 3 1.5s.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, similar story for the attacking side. And the Mel just looking to take control of Library, but easier said than done when you got a Doc hiding in the corner. And he finds the first one, threads the needle onto Drift. Great opener from Killerman. Oh, so consistent is this new pickup for Mammoth.
Oh, so Killerman just been taken down to half HP, but can give himself the juice to make sure that he's not dead just yet. That grenade as well is not going to quite be sunk onto his position either, so he's going to hold strong so far inside the library.
Yeah, and also one of those fires from the Capital was a complete miss. I think it must have been caught by a Wamai Magnet. He's also got 2 ADSs to protect him, so he is so safe here from nades, from flashes, even from the fire, as another fire does go out. Okay, the smokes are being used to try and burn out the fire, and there goes the flames and the shots from Eraser. Perfectly played there for Bandits, and they do finally get their man.
Yeah, really nice stuff there, but the time is starting to tick away for Bandits. That is the only one that they have found. Of course, they still need to translate that into the rest of the top to control. The next point of contest, of course, being JPK, who is stuck between a rock and a hard place inside of Mezzanine. He's got to worry about the player outside on the double window, and the entry which is going to come through with Library instead. That's MML on the other side on the Iana, getting ready to hop in.
Yeah, this is going to be a flash combined with the jump in. There's also an air jab not far off. There goes the Lion, and that's a free kill for Eraser. The C4 was just too late for Frixel, and it only gets the trade. But we're at a 3v3, and once again, the onus is on Bandits to take some map control.
Yeah, like you're saying, map control is in their hands, but vertical is not. They can't exactly clear out these power positions inside of Bar, and so the players of Mammoth are going to be safe on one half the bomb site. It does seem like they're going to execute in through this double window, aided by the Capital, who of course has got actually no more utility, only one more Lion scan to boot as the final 30 seconds of the round tick by.
Where will the execute come from in the end? Hunter has the key position for Mammoth inside of stock. As Bandits look to salvage whatever util they can, there's nothing really to try and blind this player, to try and flush him out. They will simply need to take gunfights. In goes the drop, and Hunter does go down. That is the key player to take out, but Frixel is still alive and well. No C4. He will have to swing this position, and with Chef Jeff as well to support as Lonely forces down that plant. He's got to get off. He found one, but can't find the second. Lonely cannot go back-to-back in clutches, and Mammoth just edge ahead once again.
Yeah, really close round. Actually came down to a very awkward little 1v1 right at the end there. 3 HP apparently was JPK's. He got away in through the doorway, so really close actually from both of these teams. They tried to go for a last-ditch execute, like you said, with the Lion scan, simultaneously MML going for that kill onto the player in backstore. That was the mid condition for me for them to go for that execute. Unfortunately though, Frixel and Chef Jeff, they double down. and are actually able to collect what was an excellent 2 versus 2 at the end there. Yeah, that's so scary. Like that final play just running through the door and realizing in that split second, oh god, I can't die here. You know, if I don't die here, I'm going to win. So
in half a second, you go from must refrag teammate to must not die.
Yeah. Scary times.
I really hope this is friendly banter in the chat, Mandy. I need to go and
me
research
too.
the lore afterwards because
I don't know the lore.
Some of these comments cut deep.
You know, the thing is, I feel like as casters, we can never truly know the lore.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, to us, what seems friendly, you never know how deep it truly runs, you know? And then other things, like, that might actually be, like, really awful, and we've got actually no idea on the desk. We're just like, haha. They're funny.
Apparently, a source has told me, I don't really want to reveal the source because I don't want to throw them under the bus, but a source has said that they're pretty confident it's friendly bants.
Okay, that's good. That's very good. We like friendly banter. We endorse that here in Oceania League. Anyway, back to the game. It is kitchen dining. That is the bomb site of choice.
This has been a very back and forth game, Mandy. Just taking a step back, we are 7 rounds in, so most of what we've seen is just Mammoth on the attack, Bandits on the defense. Of course, we're switched now. But an even half, an even opening round in the second half. This is really giving me like tight match vibes. I think both of these teams are very well matched.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think that Bandits, they've really put some practice in. Like, I think you can see, especially after qualifying in for Oceania League, it does feel like they've taken a step up from the gameplay that they were showing in the off-season, which, of course, was all broadcasted over on Nova, right? So for these guys, I think that, yeah, they've really tried to match up to the teams here in Oceania League. And for Mammoth, it's a bit of a different story, right? They realize that, yes, they are in Oceania League, but they're still not matching up to the skills. So they want to push themselves into that mid-pack from the bottom of the field. And I think that the improvement rate of both these teams has been pretty linear and actually pretty similar in terms of scale. And that's why it's such an exciting match to watch.
Well, when it comes to improvement, you want slow and steady, right? It's can be quite demotivating if you have a lot of progress and then some setbacks. But for these teams, it looks like, okay, that is an opening kill. Where was that? Over the top of the reinforcement and onto a player on the top of the stairs. That is a gnarly angle. Sky, if you can free cam that, I'll be a very happy man. This is a big ask. Can you free cam this angle? Oh, it is beautiful.
Whoa. Whoa.
That is a nutty angle.
You can do it. You can do it.
He's going for another shot. He's going for another shot onto that player. That is quite a gunfight to take.
All right, here we go. So top floor control is also being contested at the same time as we've seen that lovely angle. Over on the other side of that gunfight, though, is JPK. On the Wamaya, of course, is going to be that first point of contest. Just Drift is actually going to make his way in.
Oh, a narrow angle as well against the shield. That's a difficult one to take with the rifle alone. You want some util to clear that, but of course Thatcher has nothing to deal with that position. And Mammoth still very much hold this top floor within their glass clutches. Ooh.
Ooh. Well, Bandit might not need to take the top floor if they don't want to. Oh, they are going to anyway. It doesn't matter. Grenade to be sunk in from MML, but oh, it actually doesn't land instead of Razor. It's going to get the cutoff on the other side inside of Solar. JPK now is in a world of hurt with MML rounding the corner. Surely he will be taken down. It's actually lonely on the other side. Really nice three-way pinch onto that top floor player.
But look at the time.
Uh-oh.
20 seconds left. MML's going to have to go big. He's found one onto Chef, but Brixel is pushing deep. He's feeling a bit of vertical pressure. Razor is patient until the dying moment, but now it is Hunter versus 3. A nade to flush him out of his position. And what do you call that? A beautiful 20-second execute for Mammoth. They did not skip a beat.
Yeah, really nice work there from Bandit, actually, on the other side of the attack dev that has flipped around. That was a great sweep across the map. Yeah, you were saying, you were like, yeah, great clean attack from Mammoth. I was like, Mammoth! Damn, Bandit's done dirty. But yeah, Bandit's doing a great job sweeping across the map. They actually did execute onto that top floor, right? The thing I like to call is the mini execute. You've got to do it onto the top floor before you do it onto the ground below that, right? So they did a great job at pinching out all those players on the top floor. They had the sweep of entries come through, and then Razor was really the pivotal player on that other side, playing the cutoff and making sure that none of those Mammoth players could escape down the Solar stairs. So great job from Bandits to coordinate that top floor execute and then translate it down with their man advantage.
Speaking of a Razor, can I just say, less than 20 seconds on the clock, and he still goes for the vertical to flush out that Warden at the bottom of the stairs. That was like a round-winning play. If that Warden had gotten 1 kill, maybe 2 kills, the round's over.
No, mate, Drift's actually been... Oh, no, it's not Drift. It's a Razor. Razor's actually been sharp, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, he's doing good. Drift as well, yeah, like that super first game on day one too.
Drift
So
went bananas first game.
yeah, I think like you said, it's about like playing a role, like knowing what you need to do, right? For Eraser, he knows that he's like the flush and the cutoff player, right? So as his entries are going through, he knows it's not his job to like walk behind them, right? It's his job to create the space for them instead. So yeah, actually electing to go for that vertical pressure does open up that space, like we've been talking about, and does enable his players to get in.
There's also a point where you got 3 players walking down a staircase, you're just going to body block, you're not actually helping refrag.
Yeah.
It's there's diminishing returns with how many players you look to send. Beautiful stuff from Bandits, it was, who won that round. And they're looking to win another attack now, but the site has once again moved. We've gone up to Master, which is actually the first time we're seeing it this game.
Oh, interesting. Very, very interesting. So in the absence of Azami, we are seeing Castle being picked by Hunter. So of course, that top floor bomb site can be quite scary to play because it is vulnerable to all those windows, cutoffs. It can be quite easy to cut the bomb site in half if you just have like 3 people on a window or a door looking in and seeing what's going on down there, right? So nice pick from the Castle to make sure they're a little bit safer on the bomb site. It's going to be on the onus of Bandit to actually get to the bomb site nice and fast. They can cut down on that defense.
I love the shield and display hallway. It's a seemingly recent innovation that we've seen from various teams, and it can be so powerful contesting those lines of sights into library, which is an area that has not really been taken yet for Bandits. Speaking of the defense, keep an eye on Chef Jeff in the late round, roaming up from blue. He might have a flank on, but MML is actively watching it.
They seem to know what's going on. Chef Jeff just rounding the corner now. I do want to just have a quick moment about that setup inside of the cabinets hallway though. The danger in doing that is that you keep both of the walls inside of office closed, right? And so if the attack does actually get there, they're not as contested from the piano position to then go for default. So while you're leaning more into your mid to early game with that setup, the late game is a much more vulnerable position to be in, right? So they really want to get value out of this setup, and value is what they will find. Frixel will rotate out onto the player on the double window. That's Eraser going down, but not before being traded off by Jacko.
And look at Chef as well. He's now taken a slightly more aggressive line, and another player has gone down below. MML finds the kill, but the trade comes through quickly from Chef Jeff. 3 versus 3, but there's information for Bandits that one player is far and away off site. Chef has to rotate back up, but elsewhere on the site, more chaos has commenced, and Mammoth have found another pick. Jacko's just going to go hell for leather and get in there, find 1 kill. Thankfully, a second will not abide. And Mammoth, once again, roaring to the lead. 1 round ahead of Mammoth and 1 round away from that point.
That was a really good job there from Mammoth. They really lent into the early to mid round like we alluded to with their setup, right? They had to get value out of that cabinet's hallway because if they let it go to the late round, it's going to be way easy for the attack to get a plant down, right? So Frixel being supported by his teammate. We were on board with Chef Jeff down below. He tried to put some pressure out on the flank. He eventually got it onto MML. Not just that, but yeah, also a player coming in through the piano double to go and support Frixel in his mission as well. So overall, really well played to make sure that they had supported that player, that their strategy was centered around, to eventually translate it into a man advantage and then a round win.
But Mammoth go back to bar games, which was a very, very tight round last time. Remember that almost plant going down and then the Jaeger just dashing out in time. So that is how tight of a margin it was for Mammoth to win last time they played this bomb site, and they must try to repeat that feat. We actually are seeing some differences. This mirror was not present last time.
Oh, interesting from Mammoth. I wonder where he's going to put it. Oh, it's surely just going to go in the top floor.
I assume, yeah, but I think that the other point is that you really want to put one just on site, because last time, remember we said Hunter is the win condition playing inside of stock, and he just died. So if he dies this round, I don't know, man. Like, what,
these are the facts.
What more do you want? You got a mirror, you got a good position.
These are the facts, as you're saying. These are certainly the facts. No ways of countering it, that's my question, right? Like, they do have the cap tower, so if they want to block off the line of sight, they can block it off. But I can only imagine the cap tower is going to be used for this, right? Over here in top of the library. So when they get there, I wonder how they deal with it.
Well, speaking of library, the thing that's different this time for Bandits is they've actually brought the Thatcher.
Oh, not
and
wrong.
Usually Thatcher is used for Waldenar, but this time it's going to be used to burn through any of these ADSs and any of the magnets that might be present. Now, I'm not sure if all of them have been deactivated.
I think they have been, right? We've seen the 2 in the corner get deactivated, and also the 1 on the window too. So you just got to go for it. Lonely, throw your thing, do it. They're deactivated. Oh no, they're going to wait for another one.
Bro.
Yeah, they reactivated again. They didn't time it well.
Okay, Nay goes through, catches one magnet. He goes for the stim, and he just goes for the drop. I think that was well detected by Killerman. As soon as he heard that EMP, he's like, mate, I am a dead man if I stay here. So he gets out safely.
Yeah, that was good. Killerman realizing that bad times were headed his way and he needed to get right out of there. Meanwhile, though, like I was saying, the mirror on the other side, do they have a way of dealing with it at this point? It's like, not really. They do have the Capital bolts, actually. They didn't use the smokes this time around. So if they want to, they can block off this line of sight to then enable a jump in or something like that. It's a tough ask, though.
Killerman's made his way back to top blue stairs. Full HP, by the way. It looks like you're right about that smoke. Interesting, double smoke. Denying the push-up, a flash as well. A bit awkward. JPK not forfeiting the position, but here's a Razor. He's managed to jump in the balcony window. He's feeling a lot of pressure. JPK knows about the position. There's information. It's a mess, but it turns out to be a bloodbath for JPK. He finds the double upstairs, leaving Paul lonely, all on his lonesome. What will he do in the 1v4?
Oh, poor Lonely. That is a name that you do not want to have in a 1v4 situation. Poor guy. Yeah, really? Okay, what is going on here? There's a party in the top floor. That's...
Brother. My dear brother.
Anyway, yeah, turning point of that round. It was not a bad idea, I think, for Bandits to block off the mirror. I liked the pathing of MML. He decided to not like push through the smoke, but actually then isolate the gunfight onto the top library player. The problem with that, though, was that Mammoth had so many players in that top floor that they kept throwing bodies at the trade work, and eventually they actually came out on top. The big one was, of course, a JPK on the wall, my right. He got 2 from this very position that he's currently standing in, and I think, unfortunately, that was the turning point there for the Bandits execute, which didn't quite work.
Seconds to go.
Well, with this round, Mammoth will, of course, claim match point. JPK, come on. Last one. Oh, Lonely's going to get a freebie. Lonely might get a second one. Oh, he gets another one. No way, it's a 1v1. Okay. Okay, guys, getting a little bit too eager there. But regardless, that is match point for Mammoth, no matter how it happens.
Yeah. That was a bit scary at the end there. Oh, no, it wasn't. Oh, we always knew that we were going to win that one. But yeah, really nice work so far from Mammoth. I think they're really starting to find their groove, even on this second half. I like the addition of the mirror. I think that really did change the story, change the conversation there on that defense. As soon as Bandits had done such a good job of clearing out that library corner, they couldn't quite get past the next step. And even though they had a little bit of innovation to try and use the Capital there as well, it just didn't quite work because Mammoth have been so on the ball.
Love the Thatcher idea, but also with the dock of Killerman just getting out of dodge so quickly, he had the great read, made it impossible. If Bandits were a little bit faster with the Thatcher, nade, Capital combo, might have been a kill there. Regardless, it's always a challenging hold to try and clear. But there is a lot of love between these teams. I know that we've said that there's a bit of banter, but I think it's quite clear to me now, and I've had a couple people DM me saying that this is all love.
Okay, that's good.
And
thank you, OS community.
Yeah.
We
it's nice. We'll savor it while we can before we get to the next game.
Oh, yeah.
But Chef Jeff...
Oh, no. I've already forgotten about that, to be honest. You teased it at the start, and I completely forgot about it.
Chef Jeff said, I feed my day ones KD, so I think him and Lonely have a bit of history, apparently.
Oh,
good mates, it seems. But of course, mates don't win you money, and that is what's up for grabs here in the OC League. There is a massive prize pool. It's the most money we've ever had in a single year of Rainbow Six.
Yeah, that is exciting.
That is how much is up for grabs. That's the crazy thing. You know, brought Vinny and Worthy and Josh out of retirement for it.
Oh dear.
And for these teams, the difference between 7th and 8th, if that's to where they end up, of course they could end up a lot higher than that, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah, we live in a material world, is what you're trying to say.
We do. Yeah. Capitalism.
Moving on from the political discussions of the game, it is what is potentially the final defense for Mammoth, and it's looking good so far. Killerman with the first pick.
Bro, he's such a gamer, this guy. Honestly, Killerman.
Yeah, he's so good.
He's so consistent. It feels like every round we see him in the kill feed.
Yeah, man's kind of going off. So is Chef Jeff, of all people, as well. The Shotgun Demon has actually been doing really well. 10 and 4 on scoreline. That's not bad for my guy, Jacko. He's gone on a bit of an excursion down in the ground floor with his mate MML on the other side of that wall. But no one to be found there. Everyone's in the top floor. They're all holding out and just chilling. There's no pressure to come down from Bandits just yet.
This stunning defense, though, was the one attack that Bandits have actually won so far. So if there's anything to grip onto for Bandits to try and see your way to overtime, It's that this is where it all began on your attacking side, and you can do it. You've done it before. It was a chaotic end of round, 20-second execute. This time, they will be doing it one player down.
Yeah, interesting to me as well for Bandit. They are taking this rather slow, right? They've been given up quite a lot of space now by Mammoth. All of them have fallen off, but they still haven't quite put the pressure out on that top floor yet, and that worries me a little bit. We've got MML down below, who's at least realized that he's got all that control given to him all the way up to the bottom of mezzanine stairs. Finally, Lonely is going to get in and start to get that wall open, but is it too little too late?
May well be. A minute remains, and one wall is now opened, but MML did not manage to sink the nade he was looking for onto the player on site. Lonely's going to breach the office wall, now looking to breach the dining wall. And that's two of the big ticks ticked for Mammoth in this, for Bandits in this attack.
Yeah, not doing too bad. They do have both of these walls open like you're saying, but no control yet in the top floor, no vertical pressure to come out. MML is going to try and land this second nade, but with no info is making me very worried for this attack for Bandits. They have no idea where the remaining defenders of Mammoth are, and it's looking pretty good for them.
Ooh, awkward now as Bandits have lost another player upstairs. Jacko's found a big kill, or rather a big death at Killer Man's hands. Lonely, a lot of kills to his name, but will he be able to get this diffuser planted? He finds another one. MML, hello! One more, please. No, it's not going to happen. Mammoth run away with it. Killer Man popping off at the end of the game. And looking roused and ready at the end of it. That is a big win for Mammoth to finally break out of this losing streak and take a full 3 points onto the standings.
Yeah, really nice work from Mammoth. They took a little while to get into the momentum, but once they found it, they really started to run away with it. Mammoth really